Hey everyone, it's Eric with firearmtutorials.com, and today we're going to talk about the safety features on the HK USP. This gun has a pretty good design for how it is put on safe fire and then decocked, which brings the hammer forward. So you see this is an HK USP SD. I've added a ambidextrous safety lever here on the side so that I can operate it with my left thumb. But this is a V1 setup, which I said gives you safe fire, and then if you push it all the way down, decocks the gun so that the hammer returns to a forward position. There's something called a catch in here, which I'll take the gun down and show you the internal parts of it so you get a better understanding of it. But I'm going to go through and show you the different positions that the hammer can be in and how this safety lever and decocker operates with that. So if we were to insert a loaded magazine, chamber around, we'd effectively be in single action mode. So we could put it on safe, we could leave it on fire, but what that does is gives you a very short trigger pull. See, there's a little bit of slack, but it's a very short and light pull. Bang, gun goes off. Now, if you don't like carrying it with the hammer back like that, you hit this lever to decock it. You see the hammer falls forward, and this is what's called decocked or half-cocked. The spring for the hammer, which is in the back of the grip here, has a little bit of tension on here. I won't say it's half the amount of tension that you would have if it was fully cocked. So the term half-cocked isn't necessarily half, but for all intents and purposes, that's what we call it. Now, in this position, the hammer is actually resting against a piece of metal in there called a catch. The purpose of the catch is so that if this hammer were to become snagged on something, say, we were walking through the woods and it got caught on a vine or something, and then all of a sudden comes free, the hammer would fly forward. If there was no catch in place, it would strike the back of the firing pin and the weapon would fire. So the catch is a safety feature to prevent the event I just mentioned from happening. So, in the event that the hammer is snagged, or say the gun is dropped right on the hammer, that it's being blocked from hitting the firing pin so the gun doesn't accidentally discharge or negligently discharge. So that's how the catch system works. Now, no matter how the hammer is and what position it is, you can still operate the safety and decock features. There's a third position here that you can arrive in, but I'll talk about that after I show you guys the catch. Okay, so here's a look at the internals. Now, the catch that I'm talking about, let's get a little bit closer here. This is the catch right here. This piece of metal right here. Now you see how it moves up and down. That is the safety feature. So you see there's also a little indentation in the hammer here. You see how this round just fits right in there. So in order for the gun to fire, now you'll see when you squeeze the trigger how the catch goes down. Once the trigger is squeezed enough, it moves this catch out of the way enough so that the hammer can come forward. See, and then it effectively goes underneath the catch. Now you'll see when I cock this, right there, you see the catch pop up. And see, now this is that half-cocked position that I was talking about, where if the gun is, say this is caught on a vine, the example I used earlier, you see it's actually banging right against that catch and not against the firing pin. The firing pin would say be here or so there's a little bit of space between that. Now I'll go ahead and talk about the third position the trigger could be in. Now that you've seen the internals, it'll make a little bit more sense. Now let's take a look at this. So, like I mentioned before, if we're in single action mode, we can decock the weapon. Like I just showed you, this is now resting against the catch. So, if it were to catch on anything, it's just going to run into the back of the catch and not hit the firing pin. So to get the hammer completely forward with a round chambered, we would have to effectively do this. Let's say we chamber around, and instead of using the decock feature by pushing the lever down, we would pull the trigger, and you see this a lot of times in the movies, and ride the hammer forward like that. Now when you do that, you're bypassing the catch, because remember, when we pull the trigger, it lowers that catch so that the hammer can fold right over the top of it. So the danger that you run into by operating it this way is we pull the trigger. Now say that my thumb slips off, hammer flies forward, it makes direct contact with the firing pin. The weapon would fire effectively in this situation. So that's one of the reasons why you have a decock feature, because obviously it's not very safe to rely on riding your thumb forward. You know, you could do one of these, but there's just so much room for error when you do that. It's really dangerous. And then depending on, you know, what direction the gun is pointed, or if it's in a holster or what, you're just asking for all kinds of trouble by doing that. So like I said, the decocker works perfectly. I think HK did a really good job with the positive resistance that's on this lever, the amount of force it takes to actually engage it. It's not something that you're going to accidentally engage while you're shooting if your thumb is resting on it. I've heard of a couple cases of that happening, but I think that's just the person shooting. It's not a design flaw of the gun. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.